Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Monica Agbo and I upload sewing tutorial and lifestyle content on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how I made this corset top. If that's something you're interested in watching, let's dive into this tutorial together. So to make this basic corsets, these are the materials you need. The first thing you need is your bra cup. You need a bust arm to iron the cup because you don't want your cup to be flat. You would also need your boning. You would need a bias to fix your boning inside it. You also need a zip. For my corset, I explained in the pattern drafting video that I will be using a zip for mine. So I would also be using a soft interfacing, and this is what it looks like. And you see, it is the softest one. So this is what you should get. Also, I have my wording with me. This is what the wording looks like. So this is what you should also get. Also, you need your pins and your hemming gun. And lastly, you need your fabric. So this is what the pattern for the corset looks like. I already made a detailed tutorial on how to draft this corset. It is very detailed. So I'm going to drop the link in the description box below so you can have access to it. So this video is just going to be the sewing tutorial of this corset. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out this pattern on my fabric. So for this corset, I am making use of my fabric for the outer part and the inner part. So that means the main piece is also going to serve as my fabric. I'm also going to use this fabric for the lining. So in total, I'm having 4 pieces of each. This middle panel, this middle panel, you're just going to have 2 pieces of this because it is going to be on a fold of 2, while the rest of this pattern will be on a fold of 4. This is what it looks like after I've already cut out the pattern on my fabric, and as you can see, I added ½ allowance on all the sides of the pattern. So make sure you add ½ allowance on all the sides, including the cup everywhere, as you can see as it is in the video, just to avoid it from getting smaller. It looks like after I've already cut it out, as you can see, we have 2 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this, and 4 of this. Next thing I'm going to do is to iron my interfacing, my softest interfacing. I'm going to iron it on all this piece like this, this 4. You know, I used my Ankara for the main piece and on the lining. So on the main piece, you're just going to take 2 of this that will serve as your main piece. When you take 2 of this that also serve as your main piece, then you're going to iron your wording. This is what the wording looks like. I'm going to iron the wording on it, just for the main just for the cup of the main piece. Then on this lining area, I'm going to make use of my interfacing. So that is what I'm going to do. So if you don't know how to iron it, this is the interfacing, and you would have a shining part and a rough part. The shining part is where you would place your fabric. Okay, let me make use of this. This is my fabric, right? And this is the shining area. So I'm just going to take it like this and iron it. By the time I iron it, it's going to glue to it. So that's how you're going to do it for both the wording and the interfacing. Let me do a recap again. For all this piece, I'm going to make use of my softest interfacing. This is what the softest interfacing looks like. I'm going to iron it on all this piece like this. While for the cup, we have 4 pieces of this, 2 for the main piece and 2 for the lining. So for the main piece, I am going to take 2 of this and 2 of this and iron it on my wording. So that means the main piece of this cup, we have wording, while the lining of the cup, we have interfacing. I hope we all understand. So guys, I already went ahead to iron the interfacing on all the patterns. As you can see, I've already ironed the soft interfacing on them. So the part I talked about for the wording area, this is what it looks like. So the first thing you will do, I realized I did not mention that you should also put the softest interfacing. So you can see this is the wording. The wording is inside. So by the time you put your wording, you put your soft interfacing so that the wording can stay on it. Do you understand? So that was a mistake on my part. So please endeavor to put your wording and add your stay so you can iron it so it can be firm. So this is what it looks like after I've already fixed my wording. I ironed my wording on this, and this is what it looks like after I've already ironed my stay on this. So you can see. So we're going to move to the sewing process of this corset. The paper tape on my cup is just an easy way for me to identify my corset cup, because if you don't notch it, you can mix them up. So I just did it like I put paper tape on everything, and the U stands for up, the D stands for down, S stands for sides, and J stands for joining. That's like an easy way for me to understand. But if it also works for you, you can also try that method too. But just make sure that you don't sew, when you want to sew your cup, you don't sew it with the paper tape. Like, you remember when we were cutting, we notched all the down parts of the corset. So this is how we are going to do it. So this is what it looks like. This bigger part will face here, this smaller part will face this side, then followed by the smaller side and the bigger side, as you can see. So this is where you will need your pin. So you can see this notched area. I'm just going to place it on each other like this. Then I'll pin it. So I'm just going to keep pinning it like this. Can you see? From that notched area, remember, till I get to the end of this cup. Can you see it? So after pinning, this is what it looks like. So by the time I flip it over, you can see the cup is already forming ball. This is what it looks like, after I've already pinned it. So I'm just going to take 1/2 inch and stitch it to this point. So this method I just did, this is what I will do for this cup too, and that is what I will do for the remaining the lining of the cup too. So after pinning all the cups, like I illustrated with the first one, this is what it looks like. You can see I've already pinned it. This will be for the main piece, and this will be for the lining. So what you're going to do is to take 1/2 inch from here, then you stitch it down to the end of this part, this notched area. So that's what you're going to do for the remaining of these cups. So this is what it looks like after I've already taken 1/2 inch to stitch it, as you can see. Can you see? So I can now comfortably remove all the paper tapes from my cup. So after ironing it, the next thing I'm going to do is to iron the cups. But before we do that, let's proceed to the front pattern first. So this is the pattern for the front. You know, this is what it looks like. So on this middle panel, I went ahead to fold it like this, and I ironed it because I'm going to fix a bias here so I can get the midpoint well. So what I have to do is to take 1/2 inch. So it's just going to be like this. I'll place this one this way, like this. Then I'll take 1/2 inch and stitch. It will look like something like this. And I'm going to take 1/2 inch here and stitch. So after stitching it, this is what it looks like. I took 1/2 inch to stitch, and I went ahead to open the seams and iron it. Can you see? So now if I flip it over to the right side, it is now flat. So on this seam area where I've already stitched, I'm going to use my bias like this. The bias is already like this, so I'm going to put it this way in the middle. So you want to make sure that you stitch it very close to the edge so it can be neat, very close to the edge. Then you stitch it. That means you're going to have 2 stitches, one at the left and one at the right. Just make sure it is very, very close. You stitch it like this, very, very close to the edge. You do the same thing for the other side. So for this other part too, you can see I told you I already went ahead to iron the middle line just to know where the midpoint is. So I'm also going to take the bias and place it like this in the middle, like this. Can you see? Then I'm going to stitch it very close to the edge at both sides, and I'll do the same thing on this other side too. So this is what it looks like after I've already fixed the bias. Can you see how neat it is? Very close to the edge, close to the edge. You get? So this is how it should be. So the next thing we want to do now is to fix the cup. So to fix the cup, we have to iron it first. So to iron your cup, you need your bust arm. But if you don't have a bust arm, you can use your pillow. Do you get? So this is how I'm going to place it on my bust arm, like this. Because you don't want it to be flat. You want your cup to be firm and give you that curvy shape. So I'm going to place it like this. Open the seams and iron it. Do you understand? After I iron it, I would do it like this to flip it this way to make sure it is curvy like this and iron it. So that's what I'm going to do for all the cups. So if you don't have a bust arm, please make sure you use a pillow. And if you don't want to use a pillow, you can just get some pieces of fabric. You can just check YouTube on how to make a bust arm. Get a fabric, put a lot of pieces and just stack it. You can see the way I tagged mine with needle and thread. Just stack it and that's it. So this is what it looks like after I've ironed it. So I can now take off the paper tape. But please make sure that when you want to join this part, these J's that I wrote for joining, make sure that you don't stitch your cup with paper tape. So after doing that, the next thing we're going to do is to take our cup. So this is the cup I'm using. So I'm just going to fold it like this into two. Then I'm going to notch it. So you can see we have already notched it. This is the outer part, this is the inner part. So from this inner part, I'm going to take half an inch or quarter. You're going to measure 3 inches like this. And you just mark a dot like this to stop here. So that means it's starting from here to here. And you do the same thing for this side. That is if you want your corset to push up your boobs. If you don't want it to push up your boobs, it's optional. But if you want it to push out your boobs, just take 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch and stitch it down to 3 inches. Like this, like you're marking it that. So it has to be slant. So this is what it looks like after I've already sewed that I told you guys about. So on your bra cup, you're just going to take it this way and place it like this. You want to make sure that the notched area is in the middle like this. So you can see that notched area at the middle, that part that I notched, just stitch on it. Like just as if you're tacking it. Just stitch it a little bit, just stitch it. Just for it to be secured. So this is what it looks like after I've already stitched this stitch to secure it. The importance of doing this is just to secure it. So I just stitched one of the sides. So this is how I'm going to fix the cup. This middle line must face this middle line here. So you're going to make sure that it is placed together like this. Then you pin it. Then I fold it like this. Can you see the way I'm following the line? Like this. Then I'll pin it again. So I'm going to also pin the other side like this. So after pinning it, this is what it looks like. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to take 1/2 inch and stitch it round like this. I'm going to take 1/2 inch, stitch it round. It's better for you to start from the middle line to this point. After that, from this middle point to start and end to this point. So this is what it looks like after I've already fixed the cup. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the back. So this is the pattern for the back, but I brought it out so you can understand. Remember, this is the side area and this is the zip allowance area. So that means we're having 2 of this. We're having 2 of this like this on the right, and we're having 2 of this of the left. So I'm just going to rearrange it on my clothes. I'm just going to rearrange it on my fabric and stitch. So this is what I have. Can you see the side, the zip allowance area, and this side? So I'm just going to fold it like this, flip it right side facing right side like this, Then I'm going to take half an inch and stitch. And I also do the same thing for the other side too. So this is what it looks like after I've already joined it, as you can see. So I also went ahead to open the seams and iron it so it can lay flat. You can see it is well ironed. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to place it on the main piece, on the front piece rather. So I'm just going to place it like this, the side facing the side this way, and for the second part too. So before I take my allowance, well, on my pattern I left 1.5 inches allowance. So you can measure whatever you have. You can measure your bust. So whatever you have, the remaining allowance that is there, that's what you are going to take. So for me, I'm taking 1.5 inches by both sides, at both sides. So that means I'm going to place it like this, take 1.5 here and take 1.5 at the other side. So after joining the back, this is what it looks like. So if you have excess, all you need to do is just to like trim it out. So this is what it looks like after I've already trimmed the excess. So what I'm going to do is to fix my zip. The next thing you do is to mark out your zip allowance. The zip allowance I used was 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to like mark it like this, 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches at this other side. So before I fix my zip, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Then I'm going to mark it like this, 1 inch. I'll do the same thing on the second side. So from this 1 inch, I will just place my zip like this and stitch. You know, the normal way we fix zip is from this part, but you're coming up by 1 inch, and that is where you start sewing your zip. Then you stitch and do the same thing on the second side. And also for the lining for the corset, we're going to repeat this same process that we did, like fixing the cup of the lining, the sides and everything. So this is what it looks like after I've already joined the side and the zip. So for the lining, I also went ahead to do the same thing, and this is what it looks like on the lining. Can you see? So it's just like the same thing we did on the front part. Next thing to do is to place both the lining and the fabric and the main piece together like this. So you want to make sure that all these lines align with each other. Then you are going to pin it. So after pinning it, this is what it looks like. You can see I've already pinned all these places, and you have to make sure that all the lines are equal. They're all equal, especially this middle part safe. Everything has to align very well, everything basically. So this is what the hemming gum looks like, the small one, the big one. This is what it looks like. So you're going to take your hemming gum like this, then you start stitching. Take your 1/2 inch, then you stitch round. So after stitching it with the hemming gum, this is what it looks like. Can you see? This is what it looks like. I stitched it down to this side. So the next thing you want to do is to sew this part. So from this part, this zip area, you're just going to stitch it down to the end of your zip, but make sure it is also close to the teeth of the zip. So you do the same thing for this side and on this side. You're just going to run a stitch here. So this is what it looks like after I've already stitched the zip area. You can see I also did it for the second side. This is what it looks like. So normally we're supposed to like flip it over to the right side and also iron all these sides, but because we used an hemming gum, you don't want to iron your hemming gum without doing the fittings on your body, because you don't know if you have to adjust it or not. And once you iron your hemming gum, it's always tacky when you try to remove the hemming gum. So next I'm going to do is just to flip it over to the right side. So by the time I iron it, all these places will lay very flat. So the next thing I want to do is to fix my boning before we now close everything. So you're going to measure whatever you have on your bias. This is what I have. I have 10, so I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch and 1.5. So I'll reduce it by 1 inch, which is 9 inches. So this is my boning. So this is my bone. I'm just going to measure it. This is what I have. It is accurate. So I have 9 inches here. So I'm just going to insert it inside my boning casing. But before I do that, I'm going to use paper tape to tape the edges of the boning so it doesn't poke you when you wear it on your clothes. So I'm just going to do it like this. So I'm just going to insert it inside the boning casing like this. I'm also going to do the same thing on this side. I'll measure whatever I have and remove 1 inches, then insert the boning inside. So I've already fixed the boning on the boning channel. So the next thing I'm going to do is to flip it over to the right side, wrong side rather. So I'm going to take 1/2 inch and stitch all the down part of this corset. I'll just take 1/2 inch and stitch it. So this is what it looks like after I've already stitched the down part with 1/2 inch, and I also used hemming gun to stitch it. Can you see? So now the next thing we want to do now is to flip it over to the lining area. So at one of the sides of the corset, you can either pick here or here. You would open it a little bit with seam ripper or razor blade. You open it just a little so you can flip this over to the right side. So make sure yours is neat. I have issues with my machine and it's really acting up. You can see, you can tell that. So you can tell that my stitches are rough on this corset. You can see it has been cutting and all, but I just have to do this tutorial. So please make sure yours is neater than this. So like I said, on the lining, pick one side. This side, please, not the dart, this side. Pick one of the side, either on the left side or the right side. You take your razor blade or your seam ripper and open it a little bit. That is what you use to flip it over to the right side. But before we do that, we would have to notch this area so that by the time we iron it's going to lay flat. So this is me notching all the edges, but most importantly is this cup area we need to notch so it can lay flat. Let it lay flat like an Indian bread. So you just have to notch it, keep notching. Don't rush to do this thing so that you don't end up cutting the thread or the stitch. You don't want to start again, so just do it gently. So after flipping it over to the right side, this is how the zip looks like. I can say this is how it looks. I've not ironed it yet, but this is how it looks like. You're going to push all these edges out though, everywhere. You can see. So when I want to iron this one, I'm going to make sure that it is well flattened like this. Can you see? So now the next thing for us to do is to iron it. Can you see? You iron it very well. After ironing it, this is what it looks like. You can see I've already ironed all the edges out. So the next thing I'm going to do is to open my zip. So this opening at this side, this opening, I'm going to cut small hemming gun like this. So I'm going to put it like this and iron it on it. So by the time I iron it, it is going to be, so by the time I iron it, it's going to glue to it. So there will not be any opening here. So that will be all. So after fixing the hemming gum, that will be all about this corset top. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share this video with your friends. Hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell so you can know anytime I upload a new video. See you in my next video. Toodles.